Today, I'm sitting here with a friend of mine, Jen Richardson, who is a comedian in the Windsor, Essex County area, and she is one funny lady. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
I found her on Instagram, and she's at Jen Jokes Too Much, and you can find all of her shows, and I mean, you're hilarious.
Thank you.
What made you get into comedy?
Ah, gosh. Well, I had a humor blog observational humor blog for like 10 years. It just started because someone came up to me at work and was like, Jen, your stories are ridiculous. You need to start writing them down. Like, just like me being me. Because one time I called a restaurant to grill them about their butter chicken poutine, because I was like, poutine and butter chicken together?
How?
It was glorious. And then so I started it. At the time it was called Generally Speaking. About 9 months later, I changed it to Jen Talks Too Much. And it was just like, I was single at the time when I started it, so it was like dating in the city kind of, but like not cool, like Sarah Jessica Parker. It was more like me being awkward and weird. And then it did well. I had about 30,000 returning readers, and it was really fun. And then I was watching comedians in cars getting coffee.
Favorite show ever.
It's so good. It's so good. And then Jerry was talking to, I believe it was Louis C.K.
Again, another favorite of mine.
Yeah, well, and during my podcast, too, I would interview comedians. So I interviewed Josh Gondelman. I interviewed Carol Leifer from Seinfeld. I interviewed, did I say Tom Cotter? He won America's Got Talent one year, or was second or something like that. And so, like, I really loved comedy. And so I was watching it, and Jerry asked Louis who his favorite comedian was. And Louis said, some columnist. And I believe it might not have been Louis, because it's been a long time since that moment, because it was 2014. And then I enrolled in the Second City stand-up class. And so that's how I got into stand-up. And before that, I had taken 3 Second City sketch writing courses, but I never pictured myself, even though I always wanted to be a performer, but I never had the courage to actually do it. So that was Jerry. I was like, I want Jerry to be my friend one day.
Well, I kind of want to be better friends with you, finding out. Well, I knew about your podcast. Yeah. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I literally just hit, as I'm following it now on Apple, and it's called Moms Are Not Funny Podcast. And now that I know that you have all these famous people, I was like, how did you find them?
I've always been good at finding people that I want to talk to. And so eventually I ended up I was in advertising for 10 years, and then I ended up being a headhunter for a while. I figured out how to get people's contact information. Like, I was emailing with Judd Apatow's management team for a while to try and get him on, they're like, message us, email us back in a month, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it was so close in my mind. I'm sure it was always a no, but like, I've just been really good at finding the right people to talk to. That's what I do for like my job that pays me.
Well, and you were 1 degree of separation from Judd Apatow. Yeah. I mean, come on, you're talking to people he knows. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they wouldn't remember. This was 10 years ago.
No, I know, but you got to talk to people that knew him as.
Yeah.
Have you thought of bringing the blog and the podcast back?
Sometimes. It's just my full-time job keeps me very, very busy, and I really like my full-time job. Mm-hmm. Maybe at some point when if I ever have more time, like, I would just do creative things all day. I would dance, I would paint, I would write, I would speak, I would perform. If I had enough money to do, like, that's how I would fill my day. I would build a dance studio in my basement.
She actually has posted some videos of just rented out space and dance.
Yeah.
I like that. It was just, who cares?
Yeah. I've always used dance as a form, and I didn't realize it, but as a form of therapy. So if I'm really sad, like, I will dance and cry around my living room. If I'm really happy, like, if I hear music anywhere, I can't stop moving. When I hurt my hip in January, it was really painful for me because music is played everywhere, and I just start moving, and I'm like, I felt like, it was terrible. I felt like a grandma. Not that there's anything wrong with grandmas, but like, I felt like one who hasn't stretched in 90 years.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I used to dance, and now it's like, ow, I get up and to go to the bathroom, I'm like doing the 90-year-old walk.
Well, I'm actually kind of glad I hurt my hip because I hurt it just taking my daughter skating, and I really injured it. I'm too young to hurt my hip in a fall. Now I'm stretching more often, and soon I'm planning on like working out or something, exercising in some way. But I've started with stretching, which is a big win for this girl.
Yeah, I have I have a rowing machine upstairs that I got on Amazon, and I was using it quite often until we got the puppy, and I realized she was going to eat me.
Yeah, that's why I dance too. I mean, dance is one of the best exercises because if you do it, like you can move every single body part and every muscle. And
that's why I didn't mind using the rowing machine. I would watch TV and it wasn't horribly loud. I would actually forget that I had been doing it for like almost an hour. I was like, okay, you got to stop.
My phone is buzzing. I'm very embarrassed. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna put it on Do Not Disturb.
I just throw my
I didn't. Yeah. I'm like, they're gonna hear it.
How many female comedians are there in Windsor?
Oh, that's not a fair question.
There's not a lot, is there?
No. There's two of us that are the most active, I would say. There are some really, really, really funny women that just are too busy to do comedy more.
Well, that's what I mean, like, because there's a bunch of you guys that do the stand-up comedy all the time, and most of them are men. The occasional time in the summertime, and I know they must have kids because I only see them in the summertime, are a few women.
Yeah. It is unfortunate that there isn't more women because comedy is very male-dominated and it can be pretty intimidating. And but there's been some women who've come in and out, and hopefully there'll be more because, well, I mean, there's a new comedian in town named Tracy.
Just once.
She did so great. It's like the more there are of us, the better, because then, like, our perspective is important. Our point of view is important. Like, women are funny, and people who don't find women funny are idiots.
Well, I'm not going to turn this into about me, but the one night, which was last Tuesday night, that I did the 6-minute stand-up, I know a lot of those comedians from going to the various shows, like Dre, Sky, the whole group, Paul. And I was nervous as hell when I saw them well, thank God Dre and Sky weren't there. But when I saw the other guys that I know walking in, but everybody, all the guys are so supportive and very protective of the women. I find, at least in that group that I know,
comedians that were there, absolutely,
they are very, very protective of the women, which is great because that is really hard.
There's a lot of people in the comedy scene who are they just want it to be fun and inclusive and welcoming, and because funny is funny and people should feel comfortable and happy, and if you're doing comedy you should be having fun while doing it, comedy, like, there's a lot of personalities and a lot of egos and a lot of different things, and like we're all neurotic. That's why we do stand-up, and sometimes our emotions get the most of us, and so it's just been, everybody's kind of been trying to center themselves again and trying to get back to a place where it's like a warm and welcoming environment for people to come and try comedy. Like how Isaac introduced you, he's like, everyone applaud like you're at the Apollo, like, let's get it going.
And then forcing them to, everybody applaud at the end. And
well, they didn't force to applaud you.
No, he's like, you do it. And he's like, you make sure that you're clapping for he did it for every single person that was leaving, because people, they get into drinking or go to the bathroom and they just whatever. And
and you did so great. You did so great.
I forgot everything.
I forget everything all the time.
It was a lot of fun, and it's very addicting, and I want to do it more.
Do it.
And I will. I will for sure. Right now, it's just taking the improv classes for the next month because we're going to be doing a show on the 25th. Yeah. So I want to make sure that that's really good because I love improv too. I want to figure out a way to combine them both. Yeah. And my teacher, she does it really well of combining both stand-up or one-woman show and improv.
Yeah. Jacob Russell at the Independent in Hamtramck, so just outside of Detroit, he runs an improv show where I believe stand-up comedians go up, they do stand-up, and then improvisers go and improvise their material after.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's supposed to, like, I hear it's awesome and so fun. You should check it out next time. I'll send you, it's Jacob Russell, I'll send you his
That
Instagram.
would be fun to go see. I know Christina she trained at Second City in Novi, and then they closed down, but there was another place that opened up, and they have open mic nights as well. And we keep talking about going, but, you know, life, we're all busy.
I have no time.
I know.
I went out 2 nights this weekend, and I couldn't get out of bed this morning. I felt sick, tired. Like, I was I can't do this. And, like, what I did is, like, I did stand-up on Friday at Lion's Head.
Oh, how
Dave's
did that
show.
go?
It was really good. Dave's putting on a really good show. He had really great comedians.
I love him. He's
I know.
so
Squeaky
sweet.
Wheels is...
Yes.
And he's so supportive and encouraging, and he's a really great guy, and he's very funny, too. And the Lion's Head, they are enjoying it. There was a decent crowd, and it's just going to get better and better the more times, because Squeaky had to take several months off because he injured himself, and so it's good to be back. And I grew up in Riverside, so it was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finding, like, I knew about stand-up because you had reached out to me, I think, last year on Instagram, and so did Paul, who runs Windsor Comedy Club, and Dre. And I've gone to a few of Dre's shows, and it just worked out that I was never able to go see you or Paul's show, just timing. But to find improv and stand-up and how much is actually going on in Windsor that people don't know about. And I know I sound like a broken record. Follow local on social media. You can still follow the stars and famous people, but follow local, because
There's a lot of talent.
there is
A lot of talent in this town. And do you know what? There is an appetite for comedy right now. Like, the shows, I took a hiatus from producing shows for about 4 months. I did my first show back at Windsor Eats at the end of February, and it was 2 shows, a 7 and a 9:30, totally packed, both shows. And the comedians were so funny.
So you produce shows as well.
Yep.
What goes into that?
It depends on the venue. It depends, but so it is finding the venue, figuring out what equipment is needed for that venue. So some venues, don't have a stage. So do you bring a stage? So when Tim Rayburn, Taylor Last, and I had Gangs All Here Comedy, we had a stage that we would bring to places. Now it's just me producing right now, because neither of them wanted to produce shows anymore because it's so much work. So, and then, like, what equipment do you need? You need to figure out which comics. Like, so what type of show do you want? Do you want it to be a showcase with short sets? Do you want it to be a feature set where it's just like, it's a showcase but with longer sets, less comedians, like 15 minutes, everybody does 15. Do you want it to be like a typical show where it's a headliner and a middle and a host? So you figure out those details, and then you're like, okay, so who do you want on it? And then for me, I'm like, I try to make sure that I have a mix of women, different races, different ages, different sexualities, I try to make sure it's
All inclusive.
because, it's important. We all have different voices. We all have different perspectives. And so, that's a priority for me when I book shows. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily work out where I can whatever, but it's always a goal when I first start out planning. And then so making sure that it works for them, figuring out, I also you have to start with a budget, because otherwise you don't want to go broke.
Comedians broke?
I know. You have to make the poster. You have to post it on all of the different sites across the city. You have to figure out how much you want to spend for advertising and start your ads. You have to... sometimes I send out press releases. Sometimes I print posters, and then I go, and it's called barking in comedy, where you go out and you pass out flyers.
Oh, yeah.
It's called barking. So I go out and I bark sometimes. And then it's just monitoring, making sure everything's going, and then you set it up, and then you make sure everybody's there on time. You check in tickets. You do all sorts of things.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of work.
It is, but it's fun.
The end result is so gratifying.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Now, do people that know you just expect you to always be funny?
People who kind of know me would describe me as like, this is the funniest girl that I've ever met, or this, like my whole life. But like my good friends would say I'm the funny one. But I also have always been drawn to very funny people. And like, I'm not the funniest one out of my friends, but I'm the one with no shame.
Same here.
Yeah.
You can't have shame when you are funny or old, or as you get older you lose your shame anyways.
Like I don't know, like you're not gonna, if you don't like me, you don't like me, I don't care. Like I do care, it pains me inside, but I also am not gonna stop being myself just because you don't like it. Like I'm done with that. I'm done with pretending to be someone I'm not.
Now, do you write a lot of your jokes before you go up, or do you do spur of the moment?
I write my jokes. I'm not like a disciplined writer. Like I don't I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write for 30 minutes. If I say something, if I have a funny thought, I write it down. If I am in a conversation and I said something that was funny, like I write it down. So I will sit there and I'll work out the joke and try and figure out what's funny about it. And sometimes I just have an idea where it's just an insight, or where like recently my daughter did something so disgusting. But then I thought about this time I saw a little girl come out of the bathroom, lick all of her fingers like Curly Sue, like, and then wash her hands. So I was like, and I wrote it down. It's not a joke yet. It's just a premise. Like, I don't know.
You're just going to save it.
Yes. And so I do, yes. And sometimes I do things on the fly on stage, but I'm also not a crowd work comic. I find a lot of the impulsive stuff that I do, it's because I got inspired by something that another comedian said. Like I don't want to give away one of Billy Squires' jokes, but like he said something funny, and then I went up and I said, like, I added to his joke. And then like, so it's that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Where some people are just so naturally funny, like they can just go up and they talk to people and they can just make their whole set crowd work. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that.
Have you watched that show on Netflix where all he does is crowd work?
No.
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember the name of it or the comedian, but he literally, that's all it is him talking to the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's what it was meant to be, and funny. Now, do you work the audience a lot, or?
No, not really. No. I want to get better at it, because I want to be a really well-rounded comedian, and so like I have to do it, but it hasn't been something I've been comfortable with.
I would be terrified of that. I would probably be the one to pick the wrong person that just wants to sit there and watch the show and not participate. And then I'd be stuck going, okay.
But then you can just move on or make a joke about it. You're like, well, that's a great conversation, and move to the next.
I noticed crowds can be different. The first Saturday night at the one venue.
Sidelines.
At Sidelines.
That was Dre's show.
Oh, Dre's show. And it was funny, but that crowd compared to, say, at Fogheads on the Tuesday night, completely different. And I'm sure Lion's Head was different from that. What do you do if you're starting to do a joke and you notice it's panning?
I do that.
You can take a minute.
So sometimes you go and you do a joke and you think it's going to work because of who's in the audience, whatever.
Well, if it's worked at the last three, why wouldn't you think the fourth would work?
I mean, but every crowd is different, and then you can like pivot to a different joke, make a joke about how the joke bombed. Like I've gotten bigger laughs on pointing out how my joke bombed than on lots of things. Yeah, like.
That's great.
Some comedians get mad at the audience I always, like, when they don't laugh, I'm like, that's funny. Because, like, it is funny. Like, just sit there and think about what I said, because it was hilarious, and you're not getting it. Like,
shame.
But, you know, and some crowds want you to prove it to them, where some crowds go wanting to laugh. Like, and so it just depends. And, you know, Dre's show was a ticketed show, so people paid to be there. So they were like, I really want to be there. And the energy was light. Like, you walked in and it was just it was a good vibe, and everybody was ready. That was actually one of the best shows I've been to in the city. It felt like it had like full on comedy club laughs. Like, it was like the whole room roared, and all the comedians did great. Like, all of them did great.
The one guy that kept engaging with all of them, they kept asking him questions. I felt his girlfriend was sitting next to me, and she just kept putting her head down and putting her head down every time he talked, and that was funny. The table.
I thought you meant the comedian's girlfriend.
No.
And because he kept on saying things that were like borderline
awkward.
sexist, but like, I'm like, I think he's just trying to be funny. Like, he was trying to be a comedian as well. But she was a good sport, and they were there just to have fun. Oh, that crowd was a good night. That was really fun. And it was my first time performing in a month, because I took time off, and I was like, okay. Let's keep.
And you never would have known.
Yeah.
You never would have known that you took a month off. You were just right there and funny. And that was the first time I had seen your show, so it was good.
Thank you. It was, comedy's the best.
Now, do you find that, you know, there can be some awkward things or really bad, shitty things that'll happen in your life, that comedy and doing a stand-up routine can be, like, therapeutic?
Oh, yeah. I process my trauma on stage. You know, you can talk about things that are very personal, and you can talk about things and, like, just finding the humor and the pain that you've been through. And comedy, doing stand-up it's live therapy for just you. And, like, you bring the audience along for a ride.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at least one person in that audience is going through pretty much the same thing.
Like, life's hard.
Now, you have a kid.
Yes.
A daughter.
Yes.
Does she know that you do?
Yes.
And what does she think of it?
Well,
obviously, she hasn't come to the bars to see it.
Yes, no. I swear too much, and I call her bad words in one joke. I love her very much. But it's very funny. She said my ass was fat. Like, sorry.
Hey, that was the one joke that I remembered when I was on stage. It was the fact that my kid's fiance called me old.
Yeah.
And there's just something, you got to bring the kids along.
Yeah. She's like, why is your neck starting to look like a vagina? Like, go fuck yourself.
Thanks a lot. You're in
she
here
didn't say
now.
that, but I'm going to add that to my joke.
That's funny. But does she think it's cool that you're a comic?
Yes. She likes the thought. And she's like, so are you going to be famous? And I'm like, well, I hope so. And she's like, me too. But then she, the other day, was like, I want to be the first one to be a star in this family. And I was like, well.
You better move your ass then. Get going. Figure something out. Yeah. Now, what is she good at that's going to make her famous before you?
She's a little actress. Like, actually. Like, she's very expressive. She did a play. She went to the Persian Center of the Performing Arts. They have a day camp, which is amazing. It's run by Miriam, I forget her last name. And they did put on a little play, and she was like one of the stars in it. And she also does dance at Industry. She also does singing lessons at Brava Academy.
Oh my goodness.
And piano, and she has the voice of a little angel, but she's also really good at math because she's just like me.
So she's got it all going on.
She's gorgeous. I'm biased, but it's also objective.
That's cool. Well, she might be famous before you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Because I'm probably not going to be famous. I am going to be famous.
You are.
I'm manifesting it.
Yes.
This is it.
Okay, she says she's not going to be famous, but on the comedy scene in Windsor you are, and you're going to be performing in Toronto coming up?
May 23rd.
Okay.
At Backroom Comedy Club.
Out of Windsor, you've performed in the States and Toronto before?
Yep.
Anywhere else?
Yeah. Nope, just, well, Chatham one time. But I've performed at a few clubs in Toronto. I perform in Detroit and Michigan. I perform all over Windsor. Like, and in 10 months, myself and Tim Rayburn and Taylor Last, we put on 55 shows in a year.
That's a lot.
Which is why I took time off and I haven't been around as much because.
Well, yeah, between that and full-time job and
being a mother. Yeah.
Oh, it just makes me tired thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I have panic attacks. Not anymore though. Maybe.
Now you go up there and just make them laugh.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that person that's just walked up to you and said, "Okay, you're a comedian. Tell me a joke."
Oh, all the time. Like as soon as someone finds out you're a comedian, someone they're like, tell me a joke. It happens at customs a lot. If someone asks me to like say a joke, that's the only time I can't think of one because most of my jokes are dirty too, and I'm not gonna just say something. Not most of my jokes, but I'd say like 60%, which I guess is most.
Well, stand-up usually are. You know, that's your place where you can go and let loose.
Yeah.
In Windsor, Essex, actually anywhere. Like, is it pretty open concept that you guys can joke about anything, or is there still taboo stuff that you shouldn't touch? Because watching you guys, it just seems that anything goes.
I am a firm believer that anything can be funny, but how you do it may not be funny. But you can find humor in anything. I think some people use certain subjects as a crutch, and then it's not really funny, but they're trying to find the shock value funny. I don't know. I think anything can be funny. I just think you have to be smart enough and funny enough to do it right.
That's hard though, isn't it? Because I know there's a few things that I've thought of that it's like, okay, if I was to walk out and start talking about this, people would cringe and go, oh my God, I can't believe they're talking about it. But I know there's something funny in it.
There's a nugget of funniness.
And trying to figure out how to pull that out so that people aren't hating on you. Yeah. Like, kudos to you guys for being able to do that.
Well, I'm sure people hate on us. And, like, you watch people get offended by some of the things that they say. I say. I
didn't see too many, but, I mean, even the ones that Dre and Sky have done that I've seen, and I don't see too many people that are... They're more like, but...
Yeah.
I miss our old comedy clubs. We need to have them back.
Yeah, well, I know, like, Craft Heads is... working on getting the comedy club ready, which is they're waiting on permits or other things. I don't actually have any of the details, but it's not ready yet, but that will happen. And but the independent comedy scene too in the town, like, Dave puts on shows, Curtis Coleman puts on shows, Windsor Laughs puts on shows everywhere as well, run by CJ Irwin. I put on shows. Who am I missing? Dre. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But like,
I'm still finding them. Yeah,
there's independent shows, and like, we all work with amazing comedians. We all put on great shows, and so it's really fun. Like, it's really exciting right now. Like, people are just, because everything's so chaotic in the world right now, people are just, I need to laugh. And so they're coming out and they're laughing. And every time we perform, we're getting a little bit better, right? And so, and we've all, like, last year, like, everybody leveled up a lot because we had a weekly mic, Windsor Comedy Club had a weekly mic. Then they also had mics after all of the pro shows. So people were just getting stage time, as well as performing in the States, because the Detroit House of Comedy has a mic you can apply for. The Indie used to have a go up on Thursday nights. They also have mics after their shows, and then there's other things that you can get booked on, like in Ann Arbor and like the Blind Pig, and there's just there's so much talent, and it's really fun.
Well, I mean, I remember, gosh, in my my 20s, we had Yuck Yucks, we had Leo Dufour's Comedy Club, we had comedy clubs that was just strictly that, and I miss that. Yeah, I like going around to the different places and seeing them, but I miss one that's just
whatever night you want to go, there's going to be something.
Yeah.
I think you should do that.
I have a full-time job and I have a mortgage and 2 cars.
Okay. Never mind.
And an 8-year-old and a cat.
Okay.
And a lot of debt,
Okay, lottery it is then.
Yes. Lottery and like a secret long-lost uncle who I was his favorite and everybody forgot about, and he's just going to leave me.
Hey, I have 2 dads. I'm just waiting for them so I can go and fight the wills because they don't talk to me. So that's where I'm going to win all my money. And then we'll do that. When is your next show? That's going to be at Windsor Eats?
Yes, on April 26th at Windsor Eats. There's 2 shows. There are 9 comedians per show plus me. The one show's at 7 and then the second show is at 9:30. If you go, it's $15 for one show, but if you go to both, it's only $20, so it's just $5 more.
Okay.
And it's at Windsor Eats, which is the coolest venue in town. And you can get food from the food trucks, you can get margaritas, and the decor and the vibe, and the shows there are so fun. And working with Adriano and Peanut are they're just so great to work with.
My favorite place ever.
I know. I'm really lucky that we established that partnership last year because the shows we've put on there have been some of the best in the city. Sorry, everyone, but it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the vibe at Windsor Eats is it's there. And I don't care. I am biased. I love the place. The margaritas, I'm addicted to them, and they're wonderful. And then you're going out to Toronto. And is there anything else, or is
I have a show. There's a producer and comedian in the States. I'm going to be doing a show on May 5th or May 1st at it's Supernatural Brewing Company in a town.
I will have all of the information for her upcoming shows, as well as the contact information in the description of the podcast and on my social media.
Well, and the show that we're doing in Toronto, I'm bringing up Patty Rooney, who is a Detroit comedian, who is one of my absolute favorite people in the whole world. She is so funny and so kind, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life. And then we're bringing up Johanna Madranda, who is one of the producers at The Independent, who also is a producer for Don't Tell Detroit, and she is a phenomenal comedian. I'm also bringing Jacob Russell, who produces shows all throughout Detroit, and he is so funny. And then we did this Windsor Detroit showcase in the summer at Backroom Comedy Club in Toronto, and I brought Tim Rayburn with me at the time, and they asked for him to headline. So he's going to be headlining the show when we go. And then we're going to stay for the weekend, and I'm reaching out to different producers to be like, can we find different shows all weekend so we can just pop up and do the Toronto scene while we're there?
I know we're supposed to be going up to Belleville in May or June, so I'm really hoping we're going to be in that area during that time, because that'll be a blast.
Yeah, well, and Backroom Comedy Club it's such a cool little comedy club, and the one of the owners, he was my first friend I ever made in comedy at a Second City course, in 2011 or 2012 or something like that.
Now, do they still offer Second City courses in Toronto?
Oh yeah, I think. Yes. I'd have to Google, I assume.
Now, if somebody wanted to get into comedy, what would you suggest?
Write your jokes, get to the funny, and just go to an open mic and try it. Or take a stand-up course. I think you can do them online possibly now too.
Well, I'm doing a Zoom one. I've been doing it since January. It's 3 different sessions with a comedian in Toronto, but that's to learn how to write for a one-person show. Different than stand-up.
Yeah.
You have to break that down for stand-up.
Yeah, but you're never, just get on the stage. The hardest part is just taking those first few steps onto the stage. Once you're there, at least for me, once you're there, it's worth
I don't know, it's the best high, honestly. Like, and you ride that high for days after. I like, some comedians take bombing really hard. I don't, like, it does hurt, but I'm never going to be like, I'm going to quit comedy because of it. Like, bombing just makes it better for the next time, because, like, I don't want to feel that again. I just do it. Just go hit up. If you think you're funny and you have that itch for the stage, just write your jokes down, try it, and just get up there.
It's true, that high. I was just like patting myself for a couple days. But the funny thing is, and you're right, as soon as you get that first laugh, and mine was going up there going, I promise I'm going to try not to vomit. Can't guarantee it. And people started laughing at it, and it's like,
yeah.
But then I don't remember the rest.
I wish I recorded it, but I was taking pictures instead.
That's okay, because I know it was nothing great, but it was relieving to hear somebody laugh.
Yeah, you got laughs. Okay. And like, there was mostly comedians in the room. Like,
that's nerve-wracking, but that's why I say the comedians in Windsor, even the ones that I didn't know and I met that night, are all so supportive and so
very
nice.
Sweet.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, the young group of comedians that are coming out too, like, they're really supportive and encouraging and very funny. Like, very funny, and getting funny very fast, like getting good very fast.
Yeah. You definitely have to, if you're in the Windsor-Essex County area, Toronto, wherever, find where comedy is playing and get out there, support the comedians, because I really think in the world that we're in today, in Canada or the United States, we need to laugh.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
It's a necessity, because the gray hairs, it's just costing way too much money to keep covering them up by being stressed out.
Or just keep your hair blonde, and then when your grays come in, they just blend in like highlights.
I would love that, but unfortunately my hair is shit brown, and that's just all it is.
Mine is ash blonde. Boring. As my hairdresser used to say, it's the perfect color for highlights.
Nice. Mine is, like I said, shit brown, but the gray's coming in, and I'm not going to have the nice gray or the silver or the white hair that...
Mine are all like pubes that are wiry, gray, like...
I have the old man salt and pepper. Old man salt and pepper that's coming through. I have more gray eyelashes and nose hairs than what I do in my hair.
The eyebrows.
And they're growing like old man ones.
And they just appear out of nowhere. And then, like...
Yeah. I'm in there long time. You no longer pluck underneath. You pluck the long ones out of it, and then you have to sit there and color them in.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Did you do anything before you performed? How did you get in the zone?
I always go early to my improv class, because it's in a sketch part of downtown. And I want to make sure that I could park right next to the door. And I was talking to my improv coach and told her the funny thing that I saw going there. And I said, they're having open mic night and I'm just itching. And she's like, don't bother coming to class tonight. This is what we're doing. Just go. Get it done. Stop walking around with your books. Just go and figure it out and have fun. And so it was her, and then as the students were coming in, they were saying the same thing. So then I just went and had a beer, had a cider, and just said, oh God. I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew. Nobody knew except for her.
Well, it was awesome. And at one point, though, I had to get up from my seat because I have a routine, because they put me up right after you. Mm-hmm. And before I go on stage, I have to stand like Superman. I like stand like Superman. I got it from Grey's Anatomy, because one of the surgeons, before she does surgery, she said she stands like Superman and gets into the zone. And then I also like make myself really big, as big as I can. And then I bend and I shake and I whatever. And then as I do it, I say things that a psychic told me to tell myself.
Oh my goodness.
Which is that I'm just as funny and just as talented as anyone else. And so I do that before every single time I get on stage. And so I felt so bad because I had to get up while you were up and it was your first time. But I was
didn't even notice.
I need 20 seconds just to like do it so that way I can, because the times I don't do that before, you can always tell. Like I don't perform the way I want to.
You need to do your thing.
Like, yeah, and it's ridiculous that a psychic told me that I see way too many psychics.
No, I actually didn't even notice you getting up. I just, out of the side of my eye, happened to see the red light go on. But I had been watching Mrs. Maisel that morning, and I was trying so hard not to end it with, and I'm Mrs. Maisel. Thank you and good night. I'm like, you can't do that. That's not you. It was just weird.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you and all the support and how funny you are.
Thank you.
And everything that you're doing for women and men in the comedy scene in Windsor, and helping everybody, get a place to have their voice heard.
Well, thank you. And I love what you're doing, and you're supporting local artists and local creatives, and like putting a focus on the talent that's in Windsor, and like whether, or even like local businesses and all of that. Like I think it's important because Windsor is such an undervalued city.
It is.
And yet that always worked in our favor in the sense that like it kept people out. But now people came and it's expensive. But too many people talk terribly about this town. And I believe Windsor's a wonderful place. I believe it has all of the best things. Like we're a small city with a very much small town vibe, but we have amazing restaurants. We're pretty much a suburb of Detroit. So we have access to all the major things. Like, and it's another country, another culture. Like, even though it's just a small little river, like it's wildly different. And yet the connection between the two cities is so warm and welcoming. And to have people, promote it and just be like, no, it's awesome here. Like, you're missing out on the greatness. It's important what you're doing.
Like Windsor, I agree with you 100%. Growing up, even when my mom was growing up, Windsor had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I was growing up, Windsor had tons going on. And then I think we got a little too complacent, a little too lazy. And I'm seeing us figuring things out again, and we're up and coming, and we need to let people know that we're not the armpit of Ontario anymore.
If anything, we're the butthole or the penis tip. Like,
all the fun's coming out here. I'm going to end it on that note right now. Thank you so much, Jen, for putting Windsor into such wonderful perspective. Definitely come down here.
just the tip,
And again, my name is Tracy Martins. I want to thank you for joining me for another episode of YQG and Bloom. You guys all have a good day and make sure to laugh.